or the primary things that we sort of expanded with spirit. But I think that all of that coming together from all of our sisters and brothers in the Trinity is exactly what we need. And each of us carry that wisdom. And today I like to think about uh, a lot of the wisdom that you share, brother, because you do it in such a way that it's not fully received when it's shared. It's you call it magooing it, but it's like a gift that keeps on giving when you're present with the energy that's moving through your messages. And I can just wasn't it you that told me you had a duck follow you and when you
Yeah.
yeah yeah that sort of thing is wow, like that sort of thing is something that should be shared with all the people because that is the communication we're talking about. But the stuff that Clayton's talking about is also the communication we're talking about. And uh, each of these different pieces that we've all gathered, Jeanne and I were talking about this yesterday. Each of those pieces coming together is going to create such incredible, uh, magnified beauty through the personal Trinity, but also that much bigger aspect of our being that is represented in the temple, in our temple that is the water.
Yes.
A lot of us think of this body as us, but I really feel as though the the water that's always moving through us, through the body, the water throughout creation, that's really more us than the body is, this body. And when we start to have that sort of like recognition of that energy moving, and you know, Jeanne was talking about it yesterday. She'll go to rivers and just be with the energy and just be with the flow. And in that meeting we had a couple of weeks ago, I would say that that is sort of the reflection everybody was offering in different ways, but that's also the reflection that you were seeing in that duck when you were a baby going to school, and having us all sort of like recognize each other with that energy, sort of without the what from 7 years old until 50 or 70 or 90 years old has led for systems of separation, just letting all of that go and aligning with the wisdom that each of us are walking over the waters with and with the waters with and as the waters. And when we get to that realization, and I think that we so many in that meeting were and are and live in that realization.
Yeah.
It's just this like incredible gift that's being shared with all of creation through that Trinity and through that consciousness. And when spirit starts to really sing in our lives, and I feel it's already happening. I've been so productive. I've been a pretty productive man for most of my life, and just in the very recent future, bringing all of this together. There was a short time there that I was really wondering, brother and sister. I was wondering, so I've experienced all of this connection, and there was a question within me after all the questions had been answered for a long time. And that question was, now what? And it
What?
feels like what Jeanne was saying yesterday and what our family has been doing for a long time, and I haven't really considered it, is the action part of it. It's sort of like becoming part of that communication of Trinity, that we're aware of the Trinity inside of us. We're aware of the Trinity in the water. We're aware of the Trinity everywhere throughout creation. And we're also aware that the I am isn't just words. personal, but also much bigger than personal. It's that very personal connection to all of water that we declare. And in that very important word of declaration is something that we can take back throughout ancient history. Anytime that we find the creator inside of us, we let go of those sort of systems of separation, and we start to declare in those steps forward, and we use words like I am. We use a resonance in our energy that carries that integrity, and that communication isn't one way anymore. It's receiving almost before it's declaring, and as we've all experienced that in this group, we've literally brought the two together. And Jeanne also said that yesterday in our conversation, where the everything is coming together from both firmaments here in our hearts. And as we speak this connection to the world, and as this, we've been given these visions going over the water, and we've been using these visions in communication with spirit and communication with the land, with the water, all of it. And I feel like these energies are flowing across the country now in a way that doesn't have the consciousness blocks. It doesn't have, we would look at them as a protective mechanism in the past, but really they were always preventing the creator from realizing, because we were living in reactions to those things we were taught to react to. Those, so our choices weren't actually our choices. They were coming from that dualistic
Mm-hmm.
and perspective. But when you, sister and brother, and my family, and so many more in this group and beyond, have experienced, and that's the thing, that's how we learn most, is experiencing that presence in a way that is repetitive, so that when I step into it next time, it's regenerative. It's already happening. It's already something I know. It's not a question. It's not a feeling. It is a feeling, but it's not a, yeah, it's just no longer a question. It's just a true knowing. I had to earn that the hardest of ways, but some of us do have to earn it that way. And over the course of these last several years, we've had all of this coming together, and I hadn't really fully realized what was happening maybe until our conversation yesterday, which is there has been this precipice of energy and motion that is guiding us to the full fruition and manifestation of this unity, of this manifestation of unity outside of what we consider us, but but it's really inside of us. It's inside our waters. These waters reconnecting, like Jeanne also said yesterday, by us removing those barriers in our communication, in our consciousness, in the actual rivers. We're allowing the life to thrive and to repair and to regenerate, and the salmon returns in such a I've seen it happen with my own eyes. With the salmon comes many other species, and I haven't ever seen anything like this before. But when they opened the dams, there were 3 feet thick of fish on the shoreline, just circling the pond that connects river to river to river. And I've never seen that before. How do you take that to a brother and sister and say something like that, along with all the other stuff I have to share? Because they're gonna think I'm crazy, right? But my family, everybody saw it. You can just stick a bucket in there and scoop out 100 fish, or however many will fit in the bucket. That level of restoration and regeneration just happens when we choose to let go of the things that we saw in the past as protective, but we're always preventing our connection, and we're always preventing what happens when we connect with the unity inside, but the Trinity inside. And also, when that happens, it helps us realize that inside isn't this isn't this? This isn't the vessel. It's much, much, much larger, and we're all contributing to it, and we're all being nurtured and nourished through it. This return and remediation from the challenges helps us see that all of those challenges were all blessings, because in the coming together as brothers and sisters, in the unity and healing of our sacred lands and our connection to one another, and God and source and our origin of energy, all of these things now flowing through us and no longer divided with our choices. Now our choices are truly reflecting who and what we are. So moving forward, we have everything we need, because you two and everyone around this table here and beyond walks with that wisdom, walks with the water, and the water walks with us. And so there's this coming together of not just our intentions, but like everyone was saying at the meeting the other day, there's this reunion that's happening, and the energy is representing it. And as we like fully absorb all of those different levels of energies flowing to us and through us without any barrier, then we can like fully express it. And I feel like those are the messages that I've been waiting for, and have finally started like flooding in. I've been preparing, don't get me wrong, this body has been moving and doing all sorts of things that I wasn't really even aware why it was doing what it was doing. But oh, you could,
Been doing it,
I'm going, thank you, brother. Thank you. So, and I learned that from the from the very best. So when we get that wisdom and we receive it fully, then we can just share it as sisters and brothers. And I'm just beginning to learn what what type of new ability of honoring that I'm going to come up with to really reflect back to our sisters and brothers their incredible magnificence in this choice of being a creator, no longer being a victim to situations or circumstances, but living free in a way that requires no explanation or any interference from everyone else. This is just a pure truth that we all know. And we just putting our hands in the water, putting the water on our face,